Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome here as we get ready for our 19th race. If my tongue would stop going ahead of what my brain is thinking of this third season of the Duracell Cup Series. We are getting ready to go racing here today at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, a site for the last two seasons that has given us a first-time winner. And by first-time winner, I mean a driver getting their first win of their career. Back in Season 1, Austin LaPlante got career win number 1, and last year, V Almariego got his first career win. So will we see, for the third straight season, New Hampshire Motor Speedway play a factor into a driver getting their first career win? Well, we've got some candidates up here on the front row. J Deaver in the 08 and Austin Kolano in the 81, a couple of rookies that obviously so far this season have not found victory lane, so if they were to win today, it would be yet another time at New Hampshire that a driver gets their first career win. J Deaver comes into this race currently situated in the 14th position in points. The last few weeks he's been up inside the top 10, but he's hit a bit of a skid the last couple of weeks at Chicago as well as Kansas, so trying to bounce back today with good starting track position. He's also second in the point standings to Patrick Smith, 9 points back in the rookie points. Kolano, on the other hand, is still kind of in the conversation as well. Kolano comes into this race currently 15th in points. He did have a good run last week at Chicago Motor Speedway, and he's only 4th in the rookie points and currently 17 points back. There is still time for him to be able to get back up into the Rookie of the Year conversation. Then you've got an interesting second row. These are drivers that come into this race running very well in the point standings. Jack Mitchell comes into this race now the new points leader after taking the points lead away from Benny Watson last week. 5 points in hand over Watson coming into this race, and he's looking for his second career win after taking the win at Darlington earlier on this year. Alongside of him is William Brock. Now, right now, Brock is second highest in the points without a victory, third overall in the standings, and of course he is also the only Northeast Motorsports driver that has not won yet this season. LaPlante won back a couple of weeks ago at Kansas, and rookie teammates J Thibodeaux and N Hudson have gone to victory lane at Las Vegas and Michigan. So William Brock, at a track where Northeast Motorsports has won here before, going back to Season 1 with LaPlante, can he get it done here today? Let's go down trackside, get those most famous words in motorsports as we get ready to go racing here in Lobster Country in Loudon, New Hampshire.
Drivers, start your engines!
Take a look down in the description below for today's official starting lineup. Your points coming into this race are as follows. Jack Mitchell, we mentioned, 5 points over Benny Watson. William Brock sits third. He's 32 points out. Zach Rogers currently fourth. He's 38 points back. And Cody Llamas in fifth. He is 45 points out of the top position in the standings. Dylan Young comes into this race, the only multi-time winner. He is a 3-time winner this season after taking the checkers last week at Chicago Motor Speedway. He's 6th in points. Patrick Smith, the rookie points leader, sits 7th. Levi McIntyre, the defending winner of this race, in 8th. Jose Millz currently in 9th, and Austin LaPlante, another former winner at this track, is currently 10th in the standings. We have a total of 8 former winners up inside the top 10. Ryan Brommer currently sits 12th. N Hudson 17th. Carter Friesen 18th. M Saatchi 19th. James Qualls in 23rd. And J Thibodeaux, for the first time in a long time this season, is up in the top 30 in points. He's 28th in the standings. We'll get to the 3 drivers outside the top 30 in the points in a moment as we get ready for 53 laps at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Let's roll! And we're already going to go 3 wide back there for the third position. That's Patrick Smith on the bottom, Mitchell in the middle. Way up top side, William Brock. Let's see if they can keep this together off of 2. As Kolano on the outside takes the race lead from J Deaver. Now William Brock tries the outside line against Deaver, trying to take second. They're now back to double file all the way through the field. As soon as I say that, they're 3 wide off of turn 4 there. Jesse Turner in the middle. That's Carter Friesen on the bottom, and I believe that was Phil Parker up top side. Top 2 now single file as Brock clears. Now Smith looks for third place. Deaver is going the wrong way. As far as the drivers that come into this race outside the top 30 in points that are race winners, Nathan Ormond, our Bristol winner, currently 34th in the standings. He is a total of 12 points behind 30th in the standings. Carson Gum, Daytona 500 winner, he's 36th. He is 20 points back from 30th in the standings. And 25 points back from 30th is Charles Sandfer, our ISM winner. He's currently 37th in the points. Smith gets clear for third. Battle now for fourth between Mitchell and Deaver. And now it's going to be 3 wide as Shelton got a big run. She's going to try and take and kill 2 birds with 1 stone and go from 6th to 4th through 3 and 4. A little crowding there to Jack Mitchell, moved him up the track, and now Deaver had to back out of that battle. Thibodeaux making some moves there as well, as he was 3 wide with Nathan Hudson and Jordan Lopes. And now we got a battle potentially brewing for second as Patrick Smith is reeling in William Brock. Looks like now the top 5 are going to be single file as Shelton and Mitchell clear the side-by-side traffic. 3 wide there as well. That's Aaron Macklin putting Lopes in the middle, and Cole Deaver has not been able to get to the bottom after starting on the pole. He's now dropped back to the 8th position, and he's about to lose even more as they continue to migrate to the inside line, leaving that bright orange Wheaties Chevrolet hopelessly on the outside line. There's 3-time winner Dylan Young making a move there for 13th on Matt Haas, and for 2 races this season, Dylan Young has denied a teammate a chance of going to victory lane. He finished ahead of Adam Garcia back at Pikes Peak. He finished ahead of Mitchell Collins last week at Chicago Motor Speedway. But right now, Dylan Young has pretty much solidified himself as the number 1 seed at this point when the playoffs are reformatted. Shelton, good run down the back straightaway, looks to the inside of Patrick Smith. This is for the 4th position. And one thing I'm noticing actually this is actually for 3rd, my apologies. But one thing that I'm actually noticing as opposed to our last couple of races here at New Hampshire, we've got a little bit of cloud cover. And that inside line is actually working. I remember back, especially last year, the outside line seemed to be the line that was making moves. But Shelton, Thibodeaux, and some others, Macklin, they've been able to make the inside line work in trying to make passes. Although, we are seeing there Patrick Smith put up a little bit of a fight through 1 and 2 using that top side. So, maybe both lines are somewhat equal in the corners here, which would be nice to see because it was kind of an overpowering outside line in last year's race. And as these two continue to race side by side with each other, that's going to allow Kolano and Brock to maybe gap themselves a little bit, and it's also going to bring Mitchell and Macklin into this conversation. Actually, no, Mitchell and Macklin going to have a battle of their own for 5th place. Nathan Hudson back there, so you got 3 of the Northeast Motorsports cars up inside of the top 10. The one driver that's conspicuously missing is the Northeast Motorsports driver that has a victory here, that being Austin LaPlante in the 48. You got Brock in 2nd, Thibodeaux in 7th, and Hudson right now in the 9th position. As Lopes with a crossover on Thibodeaux, who had just completed a pass for 7th place, Lopes wants the spot back. Now Levi McIntyre, when he won last year, trying to remember what the team name was that he drove for. It was a single car team, I'm pretty sure. It had an alliance with Young Motorsports, but I can't seem to remember what the name of the team was. Now remember, he has moved over to Blue Oval Automotive this season, and so he may have given some helpful information to someone like a teammate Jordan Lopes, who's right now running up in the 8th position. Kolano, though, who's starting the outside of the front row, continues to lead the way, but he has not been able to drive away. Brock is still there. As a matter of fact, you've got really a nose-to-tail train with the top 5 if you add Patrick Smith, Jessica Shelton, and Aaron Macklin. You can just see the rough surface here. Look at the cars going down the back straightaway here, how they're bouncing over those bumps. That can certainly upset the car. And ooh, talk about bumps. Shelton just bumped Patrick Smith up the track there. A little contact trying to make the move. And maybe that's what you got to do. New Hampshire's a very hard braking zone into these corners, and so I guess you kind of have to treat it in some ways like a Martinsville, where sometimes you just have to put your bumper to the back of another car, move them out of the way in order to make a position. Smith continues to hold on that outside line, though. And the reason that Smith's being able to hold Shelton off there on the top side is even though it's the longer way around, it's not as hard of a right-hand or left-hand turn through the corner. So Smith's able to get back to the throttle sooner than Shelton. And Shelton may also, as we've gotten ourselves into 13 laps so far in this race, that car on the inside line may start to tighten up, but inside line actually worked there. Shelton cleared for the third position. Macklin now side by side. It's a battle between a couple of rookies for the fourth position. And Shelton trying to go for second. That car is having a little bit of an issue going into turn 3. That's the second time she's almost slid up into somebody. That time it was William Brock. But to Shelton's credit, she is making up ground, though. She's about to pop up into the second position. And even with her back in traffic, she's actually running lap times faster than the race leader, A Kolano. That last time by, Kolano ran a 31.8. Shelton ran a 31.75. And she will clear Brock for second. No! Something happened right there. That car, it almost looked like it bogged down, and the caution is out. Yellow flag is out for the first time today on lap 15. Well, actually, it was on lap 14, coming to 15. So the first yellow of the day, and that looks like that could have started up close to the front because you got a gap back there to Marcus Saatchi. So I almost wonder if this may have started with J Gardner, who was back in that vicinity at the time. Carter Friesen's got damage on the left side of his machine. Nathan Ormond, a lot of rear end damage on his leaf filter Toyota Camry. Curious to see where the 14 of Gardner is at. Unless maybe the caution came out at a certain point where Gardner on back were slowing up. Well, there's Gardner. Okay, so Gardner was okay. And everybody's on pit road. So let's see if the pit crews can gain their drivers any spots on pit lane. Kolano, Brock, Shelton, Macklin, and Smith were the top 5 coming to pit road. Will they be the top 5 leaving pit road? As it looks like, just from my vantage point, only 2 cars really with damage in this caution. That being Ormond and Friesen. Ormond, of course, getting the biggest brunt of that. And this means we're going to have a single file restart too, which will make it very interesting to see who's able to make moves. And Kolano makes some contact there with Carson Gum leaving pit road. Looks like he's going to get out unscathed, though. Oh, and almost William Brock beat him off pit road. But Kolano will be the leader. Brock second, Shelton third, Smith fourth, and then Thibodeaux came out in 5th. And we saw last week, Matthew Rodriguez was the race leader when the pit stops began at Chicago Motor Speedway and got involved with contact with Cody Llamas on pit lane. That lost him out on the win, and I was kind of almost seeing some deja vu there when we saw that contact between Kolano and Gum. But Kolano survives. He is the race leader. When we go back green, let's go back and see what happened. Looks like the incident was up in turn 3. 3-wide situation here, and looks like maybe it starts with Ormond maybe getting a little tight through the corner. The car slides up the track, makes the contact with Phil Parker's left front. Parker goes up the track and collects Carter Friesen, and then Ormond, trying to save his race car, got a little bit of Levi McIntyre, and that's what kind of sent his car around, snapped the car loose, and up into the wall. So Phil Parker did get a piece of this, and I saw maybe a little contact as well for the 10 of R Acosta. Now for Carter Friesen, he comes into this race currently 18th in the stands. He's got that win here this year at Atlanta, so he might still be okay. But for Nathan Ormond, that's a guy that came into this race 8 points behind the 30th in the standings cut line, currently trying to get himself back into playoff contention. Really could not afford a bad run here today at New Hampshire. Let's go back now for the green flag as Kolano gets ready to continue our race at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Lights out atop the pace car. We're going back green on lap 19 of 51. Nobody out of the race. A little bit of extended stay for R Acosta, Phil Parker, Nathan Ormond, and Carter Friesen to make repairs and check for damage. But all 40 cars are still running and currently still on the lead lap. Kolano's going to restart the leader. William Brock in second. Shelton was making some moves there. We'll see if she's going to be able to make some more moves on this green flag run as she lines up third. Fourth is Patrick Smith. Jacob Thibodeaux gained some spots on pit road. He's now up to 5th. 6th is going to be Jack Mitchell. 7th, Aaron Macklin. 8th, Marcus Saatchi, 9th Johnny Gardner, and completing your top 10 is Jordan Lopez. Cole Baker 11th, Nathan Hudson 12th, 13th is Keith Batson. Very grateful for that caution, probably pole sitter Cole Deaver. He'll restart in 14th. Dylan Young 15th. The rest of your top 20 are Trey Wright, Vince Almariego, Jesse Turner, Matt Haas, and Matthew Rodriguez. And they're already making some moves for the lead. Shelton peeked out of line. Brock blocked, and he's going to go for the lead himself. Kolano, a lonely man on the top side, as now they're all going to try and choose lanes. Shelton moved up. That allows Smith to make a move to the inside of her for the third position, as Kolano does clear and keep the lead. Mitchell looking low on Thibodeaux. That's for fifth. They're three wide. Further back, that's Lopez, Saatchi, and Gardner. Cole Baker in the mix. He thought about maybe going down there, maybe four wide, but instead he's going to follow in the tire tracks of Lopez, trying to crack into the top 10. Up front, Mitchell continues to hound Thibodeaux for the fifth spot. Trying to outbrake him into the corner. Remember, all these drivers were just on pit road. They've got fresh rubber to be able to utilize to make these moves. They're going to want to make them sooner rather than later, because it's so much easier to make a move on fresh tires when you've got that grip under you than on old tires when the car can slide up. Smith going to look for second on William Brock. As all this is happening, Kolano begins to open up a little bit of daylight for the race lead. You saw right there where Smith kind of ran a little bit higher away from that inside line through 3 and 4, and I kind of think that's what drivers are going to have to do to make the moves work on that inside line, is kind of shove the car on the outside up out of the groove a little bit. Tell you who's on the move right now, and that's Jordan Lopez. Lopez cracked up into the top 10. He's now into the 7th spot. He picked up about 3 positions since the drop of the green flag for that restart. And he's now going to try and take another spot away as he's to the inside of Jacob Thibodeaux. That would be for 6th. Mitchell now looking for 4th on Shelton. Kolano continues to open up a little bit of a gap. The bad news for him is we haven't even reached halfway. There's still a long ways to go, and so as these drivers potentially get back into another long green flag run, we're going to start to see who has saved their tires and who hasn't. Lopez, Thibodeaux, that's the double wide battle closest to the front of the field, and that is for the 6th position. Give it to Lopez as Thibodeaux slid up there in turn 1, opens the door for R Macklin to maybe make a move here. Smith now peeks out of line on Brock for 2nd yet again. For the last 2 seasons, the 77 and the 78 have won at least one race. Well, I'm sorry. Last year, I should say, because there was no there was no auto junction racing last year. But last year, the 77 and the 78 went to victory lane. Both went to victory lane at least once. Ryan Butcher was the driver of the 78, and rookie Casey Nanico was the driver of the 77. Well, so far this year, neither Butcher nor rookie driver Patrick Smith have been to victory lane. Butcher was close. He almost won that race back at the Pensacola road course, but came up just short to Jose Millz. So Patrick Smith's trying to get Auto Junction Racing their first win of Season 3. William Brock trying to, around the outside, clear for 2nd. I think he's got it, and Jack Mitchell actually jumped up there. He's going to try and take 3rd place now around the outside line. So now if William Brock can get himself clear of this 3rd place battle, maybe he can start setting his sights on trying to reel in Austin Kolano for the race lead. The gap between the 81 and the 88 right now, half a second. Brock actually closed it down that lap by a little over a 1/10. It was about 0.63, now it's 0.51. Question is, though, if Brock gets to Kolano, what can he do with him? We're seeing that outside line now starting to kick in. As more drivers have run up in that 2nd groove, laid down more rubber, Now drivers are going up there and finding grip to be able to make passes around the outside line. As you see right there, Lopes just went around Patrick Smith for 4th. So if you're Brock, do you try and strategize about trying to find a way to the outside of the 81? He may have worse things to worry about, as Jack Mitchell's going to make a move to the inside for 2nd place. Brock's going to try and hold him off. They were chipping away at Kolano's lead, but now being side by side for 2nd might actually lose them more ground to Kolano's Toyota. At the line that time, yeah, they lost a 10th. Ooh, and maybe a little contact there as Brock tried to block Mitchell. Thought he was clear for 2nd, and Mitchell was still there going into turn 1. Apologies for that. Looks like Brock now is going to hang on to 2nd place. He'll try and reel Kolano back in. Let's go back and find out where our 2 former winners at this track are currently at, because we really haven't seen either of them up at the front. There's the first one. There's the season 1 winner, Austin LaPlante. Right now he is back in 25th, and then not too far behind him is Levi McIntyre currently in 30th. So 2 drivers who have taken checkers here at New Hampshire in the past 2 years, not running well here today. I also noticed there are some drivers back here that are somewhat off the pace. R Acosta, R Brommer, right now 36th or 35th and 36th. There's Nathan Ormond in 37th with the rear end damage. Carter Friesen and Phil Parker, we know, got involved in the only caution we've had today, but you've also got Michael Norman back here. I don't know why I've got phlegm in my throat right now. It's annoying. Norman right now in the 38th position. These drivers are just now going into turn 1. The race leader, Kolano, is on the back straightaway, so would in these next 22 and a half laps, the race leader catch up to those slower machines, and could we see traffic come into play in this race? Jordan Lopez has worked his way now up to 3rd. He's looking for 2nd on William Brock, and he seems to be one of those few drivers right now that is able to make that inside line work. He got around Smith, he got around Mitchell, all using the inside line, and now trying to do the same here to the 88 of William Brock. And if that's the case, he could be the one driver right now in the field, at least towards the front, that could wrestle away the lead from Austin Kolano, who so far has led every single lap. Drop back, and there's some drivers back here that are having good runs that really need them. Jessica Shelton right now battling with Aaron Macklin for the 7th position, but Shelton coming into this race 33rd in points. Macklin comes into this race 32nd in the standings. And right behind them, you got a couple of other drivers that really need good runs. J Gardner comes into this race currently in, I just saw his name and then I just lost it, 35th in points. And Cole Baker just last week with a somewhat decent run at Chicago managed to jump from dead last now to 39th in points coming into this one. 40th in the standings now is his teammate Charles Belding. Belding's actually running a new scheme this week too in the 91. There he is. I think he started this race from dead last. He's right now in the 25th position, just ahead of teammate Carson Gum, who of course is trying to work his way back into the top 30 in points. Came into this race 20 points back behind that cut line. Charles Sandfer is up here. He was 25 points back behind the cut line. Right now he is in the 18th position. Trying to make a move there on T Wright, which I believe would still be for 17th place. Yes, it is. This is interesting. Dylan Young right now in 13th. Teammate Mitchell Collins in 14th. And remember, these were the two that finished 1st and 2nd last week at the Chicago Motor Speedway. So I wonder just how aggressive Collins is going to be here in battling his teammate Dylan Young. He's going to jump to the outside of the two and take away that 13th position, it looks like. That all going on behind the rookie Nathan Hudson. Lopez now on that inside line is going to lose 3rd place. Mitchell trying to go around the top side for that spot. How about the rookies up here? Right now you've got 3 of them up the side of the top 6. Nathan Hudson just outside of the top 10 there. It really amazes me, some of the tracks we go to. You look at super speeds and you think, okay, this is a perfect opportunity for a rookie to win. But you go to some of these other technical tracks. I mean, this is a heavy braking zone track. It's all about finesse. It's all about rhythm. And yet the rookies have taken to this so well that you've got 3 of them right now up inside of this lead pack. And right now, one of them has dominated this race. Now, these drivers all came to pit road back on lap 15 under our only caution of the day. I'm not certain what the fuel window is for these drivers, but I wonder, with them all coming to pit road, did that mean that we were within the fuel window of them being able to make it the entire rest of the way, or are we going to see some drivers maybe have to hit pit road in the closing stages? It's going to be 15 laps to go this next time by when Kolano hits the line. The battle is on for second. Mitchell to the bottom, Brock up at the top side. But Brock's had some challenges there, but still been able to hang tough on that outside line and keep the second spot. And the bad news right now for all these guys is they've been able to kind of reel each other in and make moves for second, but nobody's really been able to get to the back bumper of Kolano. Michael Norman Motorsports has a win this season with Cody Lamas back at Fuel Motorsports Park. Kolano is trying to get them their second win on the year. And Austin Kolano, as we mentioned at the top of the program, came into this race 15th in the points. So if he were to win here today, that would put him into a playoff position. And right now we've got a couple of rookies that are trying to vie for playoff spots. Nathan Hudson and Nathan Ormond amongst those, as well as Jacob Thibodeaux. Gap was about half a second that last time by. I'd be surprised if it didn't increase. Actually, it stayed about the same. William Brock trying to get free of these drivers behind him. If they could maybe get side by side for third, that may be able to help William Brock, but Lopez gets the run down the back straightaway, ducks out of line. He's going to go for the second position on William Brock. And going back to what I was saying about these drivers, if they're going to be close on fuel or not, I mean, Kolano's been out there in that clean air. He's had no benefit of draft all race long. Don't really know at a track like this if you can really save fuel in the draft. But if you can, I mean, I would think that would put Kolano at a bit of a disadvantage. He certainly has not been riding. He has been laying down the best lap time he can every single lap. And Jordan Lopez, that last time by with the draft, actually did run a faster lap time than both Brock and Kolano. The bad news for him, though, is he's not able to make the pass on that inside line. If he were able to get by Brock, I almost wonder if Lopez might be able to have a car capable of getting up there and challenging Kolano, but he just can't seem to be able to take second place. Ooh, he might get it there. Brock got a little tight through the corner. I saw his car bogged down, which meant he had to lift. That might actually give Lopez a bit of an advantage going down here into 3. Let's see if he can clear for the spot. Brock tries getting back to the throttle sooner. Lopez about a half car length ahead. Leaving pit lane going into turn 3. That puts Lopez in the middle. Kolano way up top side of it. If either one of them wanted to pit, they can't this lap because the 77 is blocking their entrance. And there is a caution. Caution is out. Oh, no. The one thing I didn't want to see, I wanted to see this play out under green flag conditions. And the timing of this yellow is going to trap a number of drivers a lap down. And Lopez was the leader coming to that caution. So now the question. With 3 laps to go when they hit the line, are they going to be able to underpace and save enough fuel to make it the rest of the way? I kind of think maybe they might be able to shut the car off and save fuel. Oh, that is a gut punch. I wanted to see what was going to happen there finishing this race under caution or under green. And Lopez is pitting. Kolano is pitting as well. So who rolls the dice? Who stays out? Another couple of drivers that stayed out included Dylan Young, James Qualls, Zach Rogers. Young is pitting. Where's Qualls? Where is the 54? There he is. LaPlante as well, ahead of him, stayed out. Zach Rogers stayed out as well. So those are the drivers we would have to look at, I would think. LaPlante's pitting. Qualls is not. Rogers is pitting. Qualls is going to try and make it on fuel here under pacing. The question is, can he? Or will he run out of fuel before getting the checkers? This race, I think, is going to end under yellow. They got to figure out where everybody's lined up. Lopes just left pit road, actually, and so did Kolano. Because these guys didn't go. What is going on here? Lopes might still be the leader. They might have just been able to top off, and I think Lopes may have come out the race leader still. Or did he? Yeah, I think right now Smith running in 8th would be on the tail end of the lead lap. I think this race is going to end under yellow, and I think it's going to be Lopes winning this race. If what I'm seeing is correct. I don't know why everybody else from Matthew Rodriguez on back were so slow under pacing. Because J Qualls, who stayed out, more than likely should have cycled around the lead since he stayed out. And Lopes did cross the line as the leader. He is going to be coming around, taking the checkered flag. Boy, I would have loved to have seen this race end under green, though. We're going to just show you on the split cam what brought out the caution. Because we're going to be watching Lopes take the checkers here. But boy, that... If you think about it, I mean, Qualls was committed to staying out here under pacing, under caution. So you almost wonder if he would have rolled the dice to maybe try and make it and pick up a second win of the season under green flag conditions. But boy, that's so unfortunate, because that was getting exciting there at the end, knowing that drivers were going to be close on fuel. And what a buzz killer there, a yellow flag waving in the closing stages of this race. But Jordan Lopes is going to get his first win of the season. It's the third win of the season for Blue Oval Automotive. And Jordan Lopes may be locking himself into the playoffs with a win here today at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Lopes came into today's race right near that cut line in the standings, 27th in points. He was only 17 points to the good coming into this one. So not only is he going to benefit from this victory, but he also is going to benefit from the points that he will gain with this win to get him away from that 30th in the standings cut line. You see right there, J Qualls is going to finish in 6th, no fuel. So the big question is, would he have had enough fuel under green if he had stayed out to maybe make it and take the checkered flag? But Jordan Lopes, I mean, let's give credit where credit's due. Yes, it was a buzz killer that the caution came out, that we didn't finish this race under green. But Jordan Lopes had a car capable of doing things that really nobody else out there on track was able to do, and that was making passes, whether it was on the inside or outside line. He got up there to Kolano. He used the 77 of Patrick Smith as a pick, was able to take and wrestle away the lead, which nobody all day had been able to do. So there's no doubt in my mind that Jordan Lopes earned this win and was worthy of this win. The thing I just was hoping for was a more exciting finish with fuel strategy. So I'm taking absolutely nothing away from Jordan Lopes and his performance today. And no doubt about it, with what we saw there in the closing stages, the best car definitely did win. Kolano going to have to settle for second, though, after leading just about this entire race. I think he may have led about 48 or 49 of the 53 laps here today. But, boy, just so close, but just so far away for the 81 team. He'll have to settle for a runner-up spot. Dylan Young, after 3 victories this season, he, I think, was a driver that was willing to roll the dice to try and pick up win number 4. He'll finish with 3rd. Austin LaPlante will finish in 4th. That's a driver that won here back in Season 1, so obviously he knew what kind of fuel strategy had to be played out. Zach Rogers, good run for him in 5th. We never really talked about him all day. And J Qualls finishing in 6th. And a reason why this is important for Qualls as well is he came into this race 23rd in points. He had a good run last week at Chicago Motor Speedway, which moved him from 28th to 23rd, and this will continue to help him climb through the standings, getting away from that cut line. William Brock is going to finish the day out in 7th. Jack Mitchell finished in 11th, and Benny Watson finished in 28th. So Mitchell will keep the points lead going into next week's race, which we'll get to that in a moment. Patrick Smith finishes the day out in 8th, another solid outing for the rookie points leader, Jacob Thibodeaux, who just last week moved back in the top 30 in points. Looks like that team's back on track, a 9th place run, and Aaron Macklin is going to complete your top 10. Good run for a number of rookies today, 4 of them finishing up inside of the top 10. Jack Mitchell just outside the top 10 and 11th will keep the points lead heading to next week. Cole Baker in 12th, Matt Haas 13th, Mitchell Collins 14th, and Jessica Shelton in 15th. As far as those 3 drivers that came into this race outside the top 30 in points, highest finishing of those was Charles Sandfer, finishing 16th here today. We'll have to see where this situates him. I don't know if this will move him back in the top 30 in points, but it should get him at least somewhat close, as he was 25 points back coming into this one. The other 2 drivers were Nathan Ormond and Carson Gum. Gum finished in 22nd, and Ormond, despite getting caught up in our first caution of the day, he managed to finish in 24th. You look on down through the remainder of the finishing results, a lot of drivers finished a lap down, and most of this was in part to the caution coming out in the middle of those green flag pit stops in the closing stages. Tough break there for Cole Deaver. Started on pole, fell all the way back to 33rd. And Levi McIntyre, who won this race a year ago, we never really saw him up towards the top 10. He finished in the 34th position. One driver did finish out of the race, and that was Jesse Turner. My assumption is, since I did not see the split cam you guys saw, that more than likely he was involved in what brought out this caution in the closing stages. But that is going to do it here today from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Jordan Lopez will pick up his first win on the season, and we'll see if this puts him into the playoffs for what I believe would be the 3rd straight season in Duracell Cup Series competition. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race here from New Hampshire. A little bit of everything. Green flag racing, some fuel strategy there. Unfortunately, we did have that caution, but it is what it is. If you enjoyed today's race, be sure to give us a video, like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We have shown you full finished results. These are what your point standings look like heading into next week. Next week, it's a double feature. You guys are going to get 2 races for the price of 1. Half the field, 20 cars, will be split up into one group. The other half will be split up into another group, as we will be having 2 races, which means 2 winners next week, making it even tighter for drivers making it into the playoffs at the Chili Bowl. Yes, indeed, we are going dirt track racing at the Chili Bowl. The racing there, I did some testing. It's actually really amazing. Can't wait to see how that's going to play into the Duracell Cup Series chase for the championship, and you guys are not going to want to miss it. So until then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing as Best. So long from New Hampshire.